In 1989, a commercial airliner cruising along at 37,000 feet did something that aviation engineers had collectively agreed should never happen. It lost all of its hydraulics.
What?
Not like we lost one system, not the backup kicked in, not this is annoying but manageable. Every single hydraulic system failed at exactly the same time. Instantly.
Well, that's not good.
And according to flight manuals, engineering assumptions, and the people who literally designed the airplane, that aircraft was not supposed to be controllable. Not difficult, not sporty, unflyable. As in, the correct response is to stop pretending you're flying and start negotiating with whatever higher power you believe in.
Help, please.
And yet, somehow, it landed. Which immediately tells you two things. The universe occasionally chooses mercy, and aviation engineers do not like being proven wrong. This is Andy Explains Nothing. Cool stories I found on the internet, which means they are true, horrifying, and guaranteed to unlock a brand new irrational fear for you. Sorry about that.
My bad.
This is a story of Captain Al Haynes in United Airlines Flight 232, which is less a miracle story and more a case study in what happens when training, humility, teamwork, and sheer stubborn refusal to die collide with a scenario nobody thought was worth planning for.
Okay, this is a cluster, even for us.
Perfectly boring flight, which is always how these things start, I guess. United Airlines Flight 232 was a DC-10 flying from Denver to Chicago and then continuing on to Philly. Routine flight, clear weather, nothing weird. The kind of flight where the most exciting thing anyone expects is a mediocre in-flight meal and slightly aggressive armrest situation. The kind of flight that exists solely to transport humans and then disappear forever into airline spreadsheets and forgotten about logbooks, which is exactly how flights like this want to live until the universe decides to spice things up. At cruising altitude, the number 2 engine, the one mounted on the tail, exploded, and not in the cinematic, oh no, there's a fire kind of way where you still have options. This is an uncontained engine failure, which is aviation speak for the engine has decided to become a Claymore mine.
Oh, shit.
Pieces of turbine leave the engine at extremely high speeds and become free-range metal murder frisbees. These are not gentle parts. These are not polite parts. These are parts that are never supposed to leave the engine at all. And these pieces just happen to pass directly through the tail of the aircraft, which inconveniently is where every hydraulic line in the plane is routed. All of them. 3 independent hydraulic systems designed to be separated. Designed so that one failure doesn't kill the others. All destroyed in less than a second. This exact combination of failure was considered so unlikely that no checklist existed because the engineering assumption was if this happens, the airplane's already gone, which statistically speaking was a very fair assumption. They're probably right. Right, Kevin?
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, Kevin agrees. That's Kevin, by the way, if we haven't been introduced.
Where's Kevin? He's wandered off. Kevin! Doug, find Kevin.
All right, so why are hydraulics kind of important? It's kind of a mild understatement of the century. Hydraulics are how you fly an airplane. They move the elevators up and down, the ailerons left and right, the rudder, yaw. Basically every control surface that prevents gravity from winning. They're kind of important. No hydraulics means the yoke is now a very expensive fidget toy. You can move it and you can feel busy. You can pretend you're helping, but the airplane does not care, which is exactly what the crew discovers when the controls go dead and the aircraft begins a slow, uncommanded descent, paired with a gentle but extremely confident right turn. Not aggressive, not dramatic, just steady. Like the plane has made a decision, the plane is not responding. It is now a 170-ton physics experiment with opinions. The moment every pilot dreads. There's a moment in every emergency where the crew realizes this is not in the book. And then there's a worse moment where they realize this is not supposed to be in the book. That's where Flight 232 lives. Captain Al Haynes does exactly what you hope a professional does. He doesn't scream. He doesn't panic. He doesn't start blaming the airplane, the manufacturer, or the universe. He stabilizes what he can, delegates tasks, runs through checklists, then the backup checklist, then the checklist that's basically, okay, but seriously, this should never happen.
But the checklists work.
And every single one ends in the exact same way. There's no procedure because the airplane is doing something it was never meant to survive. And at this point, many people would panic. Some would probably freeze. Some would start yelling. Some would quietly accept that today was not going to end the way they planned. Haynes does something far more dangerous to his ego, something you don't see in aviation. He asks for help. The universe accidentally does a good thing. That's new. There's a fourth pilot on board.
Wait. What?
Not on duty, not scheduled, just there, sitting in the cabin as a passenger. Denny Fitch, a DC-10 instructor pilot. His actual job is teaching crews how to fly this exact airplane, including how it behaves when things go wrong, which means the universe accidentally put the most qualified possible human being on the flight where the airplane stops being an airplane.
What are the odds?
They bring him into the cockpit. Now there are 4 highly trained pilots standing around a plane that is actively trying to lawn dart itself into Iowa. No script, no simulator, no checklist, just 4 people going, okay, what the hell do we do? And together they start experimenting carefully because at this point, breaking something is no longer a concern. They notice something strange. When they increase power on one wing engine, the plane turns the opposite direction. Reduce the power, and it turns back. They don't have control, but they do have influence, which is aviation's polite way of saying, we can't drive the car, but we can kind of shove it.
Come on, man. Do some of that pilot shit. Yeah, I got him.
So they start flying the airplane using thrust alone. No rudder, no ailerons, no elevators, just engine power. This is like steering a shopping cart by kicking one wheel harder than the other while rolling downhill, blindfolded, during an earthquake. Is it precise? No. Is it stable? Absolutely not. Is it better than falling out of the sky? Shockingly, yeah. This is not flying. This is negotiating with physics.
This isn't flying. This is falling with style.
The aircraft oscillates, it porpoises, it constantly wants to roll right. Descent rates fluctuate wildly, and at times the plane drops at rates that would normally trigger phrases like, there is no recovery from this.
You can't save it. Eject, eject.
The cockpit's essentially a whack-a-mole with gravity. Add power, take it away, add power again, too much, too little. This is not smooth, this is not elegant. This is barely controlled chaos, but it's controlled enough to at least aim and enough to try. Aiming for least terrible, they choose Sioux City, Iowa.
Iowa?
Why Sioux City? Because long runway, flat terrain, emergency services already mobilizing. In other words, if we're going to hit the ground, let's pick the friendliest possible version of ground. The cockpit divides responsibility naturally. One pilot works the throttles constantly. One monitors altitude and descent rate. One handles radios. One keeps the entire circus synchronized. No one tries to be the hero because heroes die alone. Teams survive.
Go team.
Preparing for impact. Very carefully chosen word. As they descend, reality sets in. They cannot line up perfectly. They cannot flare normally. They cannot arrest the sink rate completely.
We're screwed.
They know the landing's going to be violent. So Haynes tells the cabin crew to prepare the passengers not for a crash, for an impact, which is the calmest, most professional way of saying this is going to hurt, but panic's not going to help.
Here we go. Hey, hold my beer.
So they line it up, bring it in. Plane hits the runway at an angle, right wing kind of low. It cartwheels, breaks apart, erupts into fire and debris, which is exactly what everyone would expect. What nobody expected was this. 185 people survive, more than half the passengers, in an airplane that, by design, should not have been controllable, let alone landable.
Damn! That was intense!
Why this is actually the most badass part? Captain Al Haynes never takes credit. Not once. Every interview, every debrief, every talk, same message. This wasn't about one pilot. It was about crew resource management, CRM. The idea that the best decision is rarely made by the loudest person, the most senior person, the one trying to look cool. It's made by the team. Training, communication, humility, and the ability to say, I don't know, help. This flight rewrote aviation. After Flight 232, simulators were rewritten, training programs were overhauled, hydraulic redundancy designs were reconsidered. CRM became mandatory, not optional, because one crew proved something terrifying. The impossible isn't always impossible. Sometimes it's just undocumented. Final thought, and a little dark humor. Flight 232 wasn't supposed to land. It did. Not because of luck, not because of miracles, not because physics took a smoke break, but because training works. Teamwork matters. And ego kills airplanes. This has been Andy Explains Nothing. Sleep tight. I'll see you in the next one.